In this video, we're going to be talking about genetic diseases. So, first of all, what is a genetic disease? What does it mean? So basically, there are two basic kinds of diseases you can get: genetic diseases and environmental diseases. So, an environmental disease is a disease you get because of your environment. For example, if you go running and you fall down the stairs and you break your leg, that is not a genetic disease. That is an environmental disease. That happened because of your behavior, not because of your family's genetics, right? Now, another example would be getting an infection. If you get infected with COVID-19, that is because you're in an environment where there's a lot of that virus and you just happen to get exposed to it. That has nothing to do with your family's genetics, right? It is not a genetic disease. So what is a genetic disease? So in this video, I'll basically introduce 6 important ones that you need to know for the IB, okay? Now, besides these two categories, genetic and environmental, there are some diseases that can be both. For example, cancer. So cancer can be genetic. You could have cancer running in your family, but for example, some cancers like skin cancer can be affected by the environment. For example, sunlight, right? Say you always expose yourself to sunlight and you never protect yourself by wearing long sleeve shirts or sunscreen, then you can also get cancer. So bear this in mind as well. There are also diseases that get contributed to by both genetics and environment. Anyways, now that you know what genetic diseases are, let's get to it. Let's get to them. So the first one you need to know is Huntington's. This is a brain disease, okay? You can see this brain is injured, okay? I'm not going to go into explaining exactly what Huntington's is because you simply don't need to know that. I'm just giving you a brief insight so you can get clear on what it is. So this is a brain disease, very similar to Alzheimer's and other kinds of brain diseases where you lose your memory over time and you become essentially disabled, okay? But what's interesting about Huntington's is that if your grandparents has it, then say your grandparents get it at age 70, then your dad is most likely, or your mom is most likely to get it at age 50, and then you are most likely to get it at age 30. So it gets progressively earlier that you get the disease in the generations. Now this is a autosomal dominant genetic disease. Autosomal dominant. This means you need either one of your alleles to be dominant or 2 of your alleles to be dominant. And again, if you don't know what autosomal dominant means, I made many videos describing all the types of genetic inheritance that you can get. So check those out. Now, on what chromosome can you find this disease? So this disease is caused by chromosome 4. So let me show you here. Here we have a karyotype, right? And we know all the specific chromosome pairs, one from your mom, one from your dad, they all encode different things. And when any of them have a problem, or you inherited a specific combination, then you could have a disease, or you could have a specific trait. In the case of chromosome 4, one of the locations on the chromosome, if there's a problem, you may get Huntington's disease, okay? So moving on to the next one, cystic fibrosis. Okay, this is a very interesting one. So you know how ordinarily or normally people should be able to breathe kind of or fairly smoothly. When you inhale, it's quite easy and simple and smooth, right? That's because your airways, so you can see this is your airway, this is your trachea or your bronchioles, okay? Your airway where the air flows into your lungs. You can see this one is quite clean, there's a lot of space for the air to pass, okay? There's no problems. But in cystic fibrosis, you have this kind of bronchiole. Notice how it gets all filled with mucus. You see this yellow stuff? That's mucus. It's like a slime. And this genetic condition causes this slime to build up. And this makes air very difficult to pass through your bronchioles because the space is narrowed, okay? Now, this is a autosomal recessive disease, okay? Autosomal recessive, meaning to get this disease, you need to have a problem on chromosome 7, so here, and you need to have both of your alleles of this specific trait be recessive, okay? Recessive. Now, next one, red-green color blindness. This is also an interesting one. People with red-green color blindness cannot see any number here, any number. Like me, I have this condition. About 1 in 12 men have this condition. It's pretty rare in women. Now, I cannot see any letters, any numbers, so if you can, let me know what the number is. Now, on what chromosome does this one happen? On chromosome X, okay, the sex chromosomes. That's why it is sex-linked. This is a sex-linked disease. Okay, so there will be a particular problem on the X chromosome, and that's when you'll get it. Okay, let's go on to the fourth one. Now we have sickle cell anemia. This is a blood disease that makes your blood cells be sickle-shaped. Sickle-shaped means moon-shaped. And when they are moon-shaped, your blood cells struggle to carry oxygen. That's why we call it anemia. Anemia means the reduced ability of your blood cells to carry oxygen. Okay, so it's sickle cell anemia. And this is found on chromosome 11, so it's an autosomal disease. Remember, autosomal refers to any of the chromosomes from pair 1 to pair 22. Sex chromosomes is this last pair. So sickle cell anemia is autosomal recessive condition. Recessive, again, that means you need both of your alleles to be small lettered or recessive, okay? Now, beta thalassemia. This is, I put a B here, but it should be beta. Now, beta thalassemia is another blood condition that has that makes because we know normally the blood cell should be nice and round, right? Nice and round. It should be disc shaped like a frisbee. But in both of these conditions, the red blood cell shape changes. So in beta thalassemia, it can take up various strange shapes. And by taking up these strange shapes, it makes it very difficult for the blood cell to carry around oxygen properly, okay? And that's very important because you need oxygen. All your cells need oxygen. And that's interesting because both of these are found on chromosome 11. Both of these problems happen on chromosome 11. They're autosomal. That's also autosomal recessive. Now, last one, finally, we get to hemophilia. This is a condition in which when you get injured or cut, you do not stop bleeding. You take forever. For a normal person, it takes like 5 to 10 minutes to stop bleeding. Now, for a hemophilia patient, it could take much longer than that, okay? And that is because they have a problem in their genetics with making blood be able to clot, okay? And this one is found also on the sex chromosome. So it is not autosomal. It is X-linked, okay? It is X-linked trait. So it is found here as well. So that is it for genetic diseases. This is all the ones I think you should be familiar with. At least now you know what the diseases are. You don't need to know any more information about these diseases. And it's not even that important to know what chromosome they're on. I'm just putting it here for you to understand what genetic diseases are.